Hi there guys, welcome to Box Pride. This video I'm going to be talking about the big fight tomorrow evening between Froch and Mikkel Kessler. Now I do apologise, recently I haven't dropped a lot of videos. I'm actually in the middle of exams at the moment, so I'm wisely focusing my attention on those, but once they're all out of the way I will be resuming back to normal, trying to get more videos out. But of course I had to bring my opinion on this fight because it's a huge fight in the super middleweight division. It's the rematch, and let's get into it. Mikkel Kessler, I think this is a close fight. It's going to be a tough fight, as we would expect. Both of these guys like to really brawl in a way. They're both decent boxers in their own right, but at the end of the day they both do like to go to war, and they're both quite macho in the ring. So that tends to open up, and boxing sometimes goes out the window. Kessler, for me, since the eye injury from the Super 6, and he came back and he fought like Mehdi Adler, Alan Green and Brian McGee, I've not been really that impressed with him at all. In fact, I was a bit not concerned for him, but I can see a bit of a, he didn't seem his usual self really. Now, one thing I have been surprised at is his power. That's the one thing I think has really seemed to step up in Mikkel Kessler, whereas perhaps his actual parts of his boxing might have taken a bit of a decline. I think his power has really made up for that. You mustn't forget that this is a guy, Kessler, who was really hurt against Alan Green. Green wobbled him badly. Okay, now Alan Green has power, we know that, if he doesn't have anything else. So he caught Kessler. Kessler was, caught napping, and he was really close to losing that fight. He was wobbled badly, I'm telling you now, until he went on, and his power did end the fight as he caught Green flush. Then against Brian McGee, his power really told. His sublime body shots put McGee down several times before the fight was stopped. So these are run-of-the-mill guys. These are guys like Froch faced last time out, Yusuf Mack. They're run-of-the-mill guys in the division you should be beating if you're one of the top guys. But particularly that Green fight, Kessler really didn't look too smart in there for me. I thought he made hard work of it. I don't really rate Alan Green. I think he's the type of guy you should be convincingly beating, really, and he shouldn't be the type of guy that rocks you. And although he has a punch, Kessler allowed that to happen. And I remember, I haven't watched that fight back, but I remember watching that fight thinking Kessler just didn't seem like the Kessler I've known from before. Maybe that was just an off fight. I mean, he did have quite a long layoff. And maybe that was just a bit of ring rust he had to get out of himself. So I'm hoping the Kessler that comes into this fight is the Kessler that destroyed Brian McGee last time out. In the meantime, Froch does the Super 6, loses to Andre Ward, which I expected. Then he seems to have gone on an upwards curve from there. I mean, he fought Lucien Boutte and blows the guy out of there. Let me just say this. A lot of guys now, a lot of people are saying Lucien Boutte was just overhyped, just poor, rubbish, terrible. Before the Froch fight, a lot of people were on the Boutte bandwagon. Everyone loved Boutte. There were a lot of people coming on, to YouTube and the like, when we were talking about the Super 6 fighters and matches, and they were saying, oh, none of these guys had anything. Lucien Boutte should be in it. Lucien Boutte wiped the floor with these people. All of a sudden, Froch blows him out of there, and Boutte was nothing. He was unbeaten because he was fighting bums, and he was nothing. One thing that gets me is that we look back at Joe Calzaghe's victory over Jeff Lacey, as some amazing achievement. What the hell has Lacey done since then? Oh, we'll say, Calzaghe took his soul or something. Come on, man, that guy was just overhyped as well. If you're going to say Boutte was overhyped, then Lacey was overhyped. He's done sod all. He's fighting down in Miami for Don King on nothing cards with in nothing fights. Let's get real. it was a good victory over Butte. If Butte had gone out and Froch still had to do a job there. Now Butte may prove to go on and prove that he was overhyped. But at the end of the day, until we see that, until we see Butte give him a chance to come back from this, we can't really, jump on and start saying Froch's victory over Butte was nothing. We give Froch his credit. He went out there and did it against a guy who I thought Butte was going to beat Froch. So I'm not going to stand here as the hypocrite and try and downplay that victory. And then shout my mouth off about Calzaghe's victory over Jeff Lacey. Jeff Lacey who's done, nothing since. So, let's get that straight here. In this fight, both guys can hurt each other. Kessler he wobbled Froch, and Froch admits he hurt Froch in that first fight. You saw the moment. And with the power he's showing, Kessler, for me, he can stop Froch. Froch is not invincible. Yes, he has good punch resistance, but this is a guy in Kessler who I believe has the power if he catches him right. And if Froch doesn't check his movements after he throws a punch and check his defence after he throws a punch, defending against the counter, Froch could end up on his backside. He could end up being wobbled in this one. Kessler has the power to hurt him. And likewise, I think Froch has the ability to hurt Kessler. We saw Alan Green do it. I think Froch can do it. Now, I think Froch has a bit more to fight for here. I know it's both of these guys are warriors, but it's clear this is a big fight, a bigger fight for me for Froch. Kessler's already beaten Froch. He's already got a victory over Froch on his resume. He can say, "Oh, I lost to Froch when I was, further in my career and I wasn't in my prime." Yeah, Carl Froch is forever going to battle against Joe Calzaghe and Joe Calzaghe's legacy, because at the moment, the only thing you can link those two with is Mikkel Kessler. Calzaghe beat Kessler, fantastic victory, because Kessler's gone on and done what he's done. We see what a fantastic victory that was for Calzaghe. Calzaghe beat him, Froch lost to him. So Carl Froch really, I think in his mind, he knows this, he needs to beat Kessler, one way or the other, to try and at least have something to say, because we know Froch does like to compare himself to these guys. So he really needs that. Otherwise, if Kessler beats him again, then he's never going to ever... Well, in my opinion, he's never going to get close to Calzaghe anyway in some people's eyes, because that's just the way people are. A lot of people are fans of boxers, not of boxing. And I'm not giving you my opinion either way. I'm just telling you the way it is and the way I see other people seeing this. But he's fighting for legacy, Froch, in this one. This is not just a one-off fight for the title or a belt or whatever. This is not just between him and Kessler. This is between him and Joe Calzaghe in a way. I'll tell you that now. I believe it. I truly believe it's that. So I think he really has that to fight for. He really wants it on his legacy. That he's beaten Mikkel Kessler. Andre Ward, okay, never fought Calzaghe. Can't be compared. Now, I think from watching the Inside the Ropes, or Behind the Ropes, or whatever it was called, with each fighter, that was just on Sky Sports, just a little inkling of how I think each of these guys are going to fight. It was very clear that Kessler mentioned he was surprised at the reach of Froch. That Froch had that reach and he was able to hit him, and he was like, where did that come from? He's looking to get inside. Some of the tips his trainer was giving was inside fighting tips, The way he was supposed to move inside to stay in the pocket was perhaps a better option than trying to move with Froch. So that's something Kessler should do. And then we saw on the flip side, Froch was saying, I think Rob McCracken was actually saying, Froch's trainer, you know what you're going to get with Kessler, he wants to get inside. I think he was talking to Froch and he was saying Kessler wants to get inside. You've got to stop him coming inside. So I think we're looking at sort of Kessler trying to close the gap, Froch trying to keep that gap so he can get space for his punches. So that's going to be interesting to see who wins that battle, and it could be whoever wins that battle wins the fight. We'll see. My main concern here for Kessler is he has a tendency to get cut quite badly, and particularly he gets cut above the eye. That's worse because it flows down, blood flows down into the eye, and he got stopped against Andre Ward, as we know, because of that. I know there was some headbutting stuff going on in there, but at the end of the day, he ended up getting stopped. I'm picking Carl Froch to win this fight. I've been finding it difficult to choose between decision and late stoppage. I'm actually going to go for Carl Froch in round 10. I'm not going to say that Froch is going to blow him out of there like he did with Butte. He's going to actually, knock him down and physically stop him. Perhaps it's going to come from a cut. Just keep your eye on that. Perhaps it's going to come from a cut on Kessler, and the fight has to be stopped by the doctor, for medical advice. Maybe, because he does tend to take a bit of wear and tear on his face during the fight, Kessler. I'm sure you've got loads of analysis and breakdowns from elsewhere. That's my take of this fight. That's just my frank observation on how I think this will go. I think it's a close fight. I think both guys can get hurt in there. I wouldn't be surprised whatever happens. Kessler can box, but he can also punch. He can also has power. Froch can box, also has power. Let's see what happens. I'm picking Froch by round 10. Enjoy the fight, guys. It should be really good. It's been promoted extremely well here in the UK, and it's going to be a really big fight. So enjoy the weekend, guys. Let me know what you think about this fight. I'll be interested to hear your views. This is Boxped, and I'm out.